Hi, I'm Melissa Martin, and this is the 10 rookie mistakes most first time homebuyers make. Thanks for joining me today. Let's get into this webinar for you. Who is this webinar for? This is for someone who's looking to purchase their first home, who has consistent employment, whether that be a salary position, you've worked in the industry for a long time, or you've been at your current position for 2 years or more. You have average to better credit, so it's always a good idea to check your credit bureau online, see what your credit score is like. If there's any discrepancies, get working on those. This is also for someone who has savings for a down payment or access to funds for a down payment. Someone who's tired of making their landlord rich. We know how much rents have gone up and how expensive it can be out there. And this is for someone that wants to start building their own equity and feel that pride of ownership. This is also for someone who may not know what their budget is right now. Maybe you do and you want to have a second look at and know what's involved in the process. This is the webinar for you. About me, well, I'm Melissa Martin. I'm a mortgage agent in Ontario with Mortgage Teacher. I've been a mortgage agent since 2019 and have a rock star team behind me. So shout out to all the Mortgage Teacher agents out there. You guys are great. We offer white glove concierge style business, which means that you're not going to feel left in the dark. You're going to have honest, transparent communication throughout the entire journey of buying your first home. On the personal side, I am a huge concert lover. I'm a massive Raptors fan. Go Raptors. And it would be very difficult to find me without being arm's reach away from a Diet Coke. So these are the 10 rookie mistakes that I see first-time home buyers making, but I've added a few extras in there. So everybody loves a little bonus. So there's actually more than 10 things that we're going to talk about today. Number 1, not being pre-approved right away. The pre-approval process is actually pretty sophisticated. When you put in a mortgage application for pre-approval, I'm taking a look at your income, a good look at your income and your down payment and your credit bureau to make sure that you are going to qualify for the mortgage that you're looking for. These are very different from the 2-minute pre-qualification that you can receive on your bank's website. Those are a computer calculator that is looking at the numbers that you're punching in and spitting out a number. They're really not accurate. This is the first step in the home buying process, and it's the most crucial. So getting our finances in order is something that we want to do before we start looking at properties. Number 2, not future-proofing your buying decision. What this means is we are going to be assessing how comfortable you are now with the amount of the mortgage payment and the cost of the property. And we're also going to be looking at the next 5 years. Is this going to be something that you're going to be comfortable with in that mortgage term? Many things can change over the years. We could have a growing family. There could be job changes or job loss. Maybe you're moving across the country. There could be relationship breakdowns or someone could get sick. What we want to do is when we can't predict the future, we want to make sure that we are protecting ourselves and planning for things that could potentially happen in the future. Planning now will help me as your mortgage agent decide what product of mortgage is best for you. We might need something with a bit of flexibility. We might need something with a fixed rate as opposed to a variable rate. These are things that we're going to put into the decision-making process of what mortgage product is right for you. Number 3, not having the right dream team. This is super important as a first-time home buyer. You're going to want to surround yourself with professionals. You are going to want to have a conversation potentially with an accountant, a mortgage broker, a realtor, a lawyer, an appraiser, an inspector. These are all the people that are within the process that we're going to need to be dealing with. I have vetted a list of these professionals that I find are trustworthy and represent my business well, that I'd be happy to share with you. Number 4, being too proud to ask for help and tapping into the bank of mom and dad. Now, this has been very popular over the last couple of years. Usually parents just want to know that you have done your homework, that you know your numbers, you've been researching this. What we do is we customize a budget for you that you can share with your parents so that they know that this is something you're very serious about. Number 5, not understanding the small print of a mortgage. This is completely understandable. When you're a first-time home buyer, you've never signed a mortgage contract before, and it's my job to walk you through it. One of the things we want to be proactive about is not signing up for something that is called a no-frills mortgage. These are the mortgages that you might find advertised with ultra low rates. They come with a lot of restrictions. I actually call them mortgage jail because sometimes it limits us in our flexibility, maybe to break the mortgage or move to another lender. And this could potentially cost you tens of thousands of dollars. We want to make sure that you're not getting in over your head and that there are no surprises. So we're looking over mortgage products that are right for you, and that down the road, if some things change, you're not surprised that you've signed up for something that you're not actually, that you weren't aware of at the time. Legal jargon. It's my job to understand legal words and mortgage terms and explain them to you. And that's what we do. We walk you through everything and explain everything throughout the journey. Number 6, not understanding what a finance condition is and how it protects you. You will never hear me recommend that you go in with an offer on a property without having a finance condition. And there's reasons for this. Every application is twofold. It's part you and part property. And I might be able to look at all of your situation, look at your supporting documents, and know that you're going to be approved with the lender, but we don't know that the lender or the insurer is going to accept the property. So the last couple of years, we've seen people going in with firm contracts. And if this is something that you think you're going to need to do, I'm going to discuss with you the risks that are involved in doing so, and because I really want to keep you out of harm's way. We want to make sure that during this buying process, that having the condition of finance is there so that it allows you to make sure that you are fully committed to this purchase. It gives you the back door to get out of the contract if, say, the lender comes back and doesn't like the property, or the inspector comes back with a huge list of things that would need to be repaired. It gives you an opportunity to end that contract at that time. What my process is I will underwrite all of your supporting documents for yourselves up front so that we know where we stand and that we have a good chance of being approved with the lender. Number 7, not having a deposit available after your offer is accepted. Usually this is going to take place within 24 hours of submitting your offer and having it accepted. We need to have those funds available. We want to make sure that the funds are liquid and ready to go. That means checking account, savings account. If it's being gifted from mom and dad, we want them to be able to access that money quickly for you. Sometimes the deposit is even given at the time of the offers, which means we want to be proactive. So while we're out shopping, we want to know that at least the deposit funds are available and ready to go when we find that perfect house. Number 8, not knowing the difference between a deposit and a down payment. This is very common. These are two totally different things. The deposit, like I mentioned, is given at the time of the accepted offer within 24 hours, and the down payment is the amount that we need to put down on the house in total to make the purchase. When the deposit is given, on closing, it is now part of the down payment. So when you give, say, $10,000 and you were putting $50,000 down payment, but the 10 was for the deposit, the 10 goes towards the 50,000 on closing. Number 9, not taking advantage of programs available for first-time home buyers. So there's the first-time home buyers plan, which is provided by the government. I'm not a huge fan of this program. The main reason why I'm not is that it has a lot of restrictions. It basically doesn't help a huge population of first-time home buyers. It really targets a small amount of first-time home buyers that it can help. And when it let's say you met the qualifications and you wanted to use the program, it can help with bringing down your payments a little bit. Maybe it might be able to stretch your affordability a little bit too. However, the repayment is the thing that I really don't like. What it is you would actually have to give back 5% of the total equity of your property in the future, either at the time of sale or I think it's 25 years down the road. Like, I really don't use this product because I really don't really like it, but it is available. There are municipal first-time home buyer programs, and these I actually do like. So some municipalities will help give funds for down payment and closing costs. And each program also has qualifications that would need to be met. It works in a similar way to the first-time homebuyers plan, but every municipality has a different program, and there are some really good ones out there. RSP for the first-time homebuyers plan. So this one, some people know about, and but they have some misconceptions. What it is you can borrow from yourself up to $35,000 from your RSP plan. Now the funds need to be in there for at least 90 days, but you can borrow that money to go towards your down payment. It's a one-time deal. You can use this program once. And the repayment of it is broken into annual repayment obligation. So let's say you borrowed $1,500 from your RSP to go towards the down payment. Each year for 15 years, you would have to repay $100 back to your RSP. If you don't make that payment, it's not like they're coming knocking on your door or anything. What would happen is that $100 that you were supposed to pay back that year would get added to your income on your income taxes for the year. First-time homebuyers tax credit. This is great. So in the year that you purchase your home, when you do your taxes that year, you can put in for a $750 tax rebate. Land transfer tax rebate. This takes place at the time of closing. So everyone has the opportunity to have up to $4,000 per household purchase. So if it's you and a spouse, one of you gets to use it. The other one, unfortunately, it counts as theirs as well. But it's a $4,000, up to $4,000 taken off of the amount of land transfer tax required at closing, and the lawyer takes care of that for you. Don't worry, you don't need to know all the ins and outs of these programs. I take care of everything and make sure that you're taking advantage of every program. Number 10, trying to time the market. We've seen a lot of this recently. Not setting your expectations right and understanding the property ladder. So we as first-time home buyers, we know that it's likely that you're going to be starting in a starter home, which is going to build equity, and then you get to use that equity to make another purchase down the road and again until you get into your dream home. Mortgages are a wealth tool, so we use mortgages to help us get to where we want to be. It's not a short game, it's a long game, and the key is getting into the game. So getting that starter home and building that equity is the starting point to getting to our dream goals. Number 11, not understanding your monthly budget and closing costs. So how much can you afford? Not just on paper, but in life, we know that there are a lot of expenses that can come up. We want to make sure that you have, in addition to your down payment, enough set aside for closing costs. Now, lenders actually require that you have 1.5% of the purchase price set aside in addition to your down payment for closing costs. Closing costs are your land transfer tax, title insurance, your legal fees, among other things. So despite the fact that we're getting the rebate of up to $4,000 for the land transfer tax, the lender still wants to make sure that we have 1.5% set aside in addition to our down payment. Down payment, where is it coming from? This is super important. We want to make sure that the down payment is coming from sources that are acceptable to the lenders. Lenders have a lot of policies on down payment, and we want to make sure that everything runs smoothly for you. Deposit, like we mentioned at the start, we want to make sure that it's liquid, ready to go. And we will build you a custom breakdown and walk you through it line by line of what is going to be required to make the purchase. We work very closely together during the buying process, and every property is different. So if there's a property of interest, you reach out to me, and we all work together, yourself, your realtor, myself, we all work together to make sure that it's going to be a smooth purchasing and mortgage process for you going forward. You will know your numbers inside and out when you make your offer so that you can make it with confidence when the right property comes along. Number 12, not knowing the difference between a mortgage broker and a bank. So as a mortgage agent, I work for you, not any one particular bank. Your priorities are my priorities, and I match you up with the lender that matches that. I have your best interests in mind. I really do. I want to make sure that you're going to be happy and protected for the length of your mortgage. I'm one point of contact. When you need something, you call me. You don't have to go through 7 different departments. You just call me, and I'm here for you. I'm not going anywhere. So this is where I am. I'm not hard to find, and I am easy to get a hold of. We offer that white glove concierge service. So as we're going through this purchasing journey for you, you're going to be kept up to date, know where you stand, know what's going on with your application with the lenders, etc. And I have access to lenders that the banks don't. So we have quite a few lenders that we can use and have competing for your business, which gives you a lot of opportunity for savings. I am going to help to protect you and your family with the mortgage product that you're going into. You don't pay me anything. This is a huge misconception. A lot of people think that they have to pay a mortgage broker. You pay me $0. If you're a prime client, meaning like you could go into a bank and get a mortgage, there's a very good chance that you're going to pay me $0. Now, there is an exception. If we needed alternative lending or private lending, those would be the circumstances where a mortgage broker would be charging you a fee to arrange that mortgage. But with prime side lending, there is absolutely no cost to you. I'm free. Number 13, mistakes clients make after they purchase a property. Now, this one's really important. So people pay attention here, okay? Because this is where we have a commitment and something happens during this process, or maybe you have your pre-approval and you've been out shopping and something happens in the process that can change things on a dime. Making big purchases. Please do not go out and buy a car. Do not buy the boat, the ATV, the dirt bike, any of these things that you're going to be borrowing funds to purchase. That includes your furniture for your new property. We do not want you going out doing the 24 no month or no payments per month. We don't want to be buying appliances on credit. If you have the cash, knock yourself out. If you are using credit for these things, we do not want to do this. And the reason is it could affect our approval. If we've applied to a lender and said this is what our liabilities are, and then something changes that, the lender can turn around and decline our mortgage up until the day of closing. So keys in hand is super important. We don't want you changing jobs or quitting your job during this process. Keys in hand, and you want to change your job or quit your job, that's your decision. But until the keys are in your hand, we've told the lender this is where you work, this is what you make, and this is what our application is based off of. And we want to keep that consistent until we have those keys in our hand. This includes co-signing for anyone on any type of loan. A lot of people don't understand that just because they're co-signing and it's not for them, that they aren't liable. You are 100% liable, and it would affect your approval with the lender. So during the application and the house buying process, if getting into your own home is a priority to you, please do not co-sign for someone else during this time. Also, do not apply for more credit. So some people want to be proactive and go out and get a furniture store card and have that ready for when they close on the property, so that then they can go and buy furniture. We don't even want to apply for new credit, because every application for new credit will affect our credit score, and some lenders have restrictions and guidelines of what your credit score needs to be. We want to keep, during this process, we want to keep status quo. Number 14, not budgeting for soft costs. So this includes things like insurance, maintenance of the property. Maybe it has a really long laneway and you're going to have to hire someone to come in once in a while to clear snow, or it might need renovations to the property to make it the way that you want. We have to understand these costs and include them in our budget. Utilities, decorating and furnishings, especially for first-time home buyers, it does cost a lot to fill the home with the things that we need in it. So we want to make sure that that's part of our budget when we're looking at purchasing our first home. This last one, parking rentals. This is for people that would be going into, say, a condominium. Sometimes the condo requires that you rent the parking space. It's not covered within your condo fees. So if this is the case for the particular property that you're looking at, we want to budget those costs in as well. Common questions asked. Is a pre-approval a guarantee that I can buy a house? No, it is not. So like I mentioned, every application is twofold, part you, part property. And until the lender has reviewed both you and the property, which happens after an accepted offer takes place, we really don't have a guarantee. So we want to make sure that we have that condition of finance in there so that if the lender doesn't like something for whatever reason, we have the back door. My parents are willing to give me some money to help with the purchase. Does that help? Absolutely, it does. You can be gifted funds from an immediate family member, mother, father, sister, brother, grandparent. If they're willing to help out and the costs are going to be going towards your down payment, closing costs, or even the furnishings and things like that, any large gift that of funds that is given to you from family, we would require a gift letter that's specific to the lender, be signed by them that they are helping out. Parents are also, and immediate family are also who we would need to consider for a situation that required a co-signer. Should a first-time home buyer start looking at properties before they're pre-approved? I'm not a huge fan of this because I don't want to be the one to tell you that you can't afford the house that you just saw that you fell in love with. So I always say finances first and then shop within our budget. Can I make an offer on more than one property at the same time? The answer is no, unless you have the money to buy two houses at the same time, because what happens is when you submit an offer, it's irrevocable for a certain amount of time, and in that time the seller gets to review your offer and decide if they're going to accept it or not. The last thing you want to do is be putting multiple offers in on different properties at the same time and all of them accept them. Then you're on the hook for all of those homes. So we don't want to do that. We want to work at one property at a time, and working with the professionals surrounding you, we would advise that you really love the property that you're going to be putting in an offer in, and work on that one property at that time. How do buyers choose between a house and a condo? It's really a personal preference. When we're considering a condo, we have that added expense of condo fees that we would have to consider, as well as they have bylaws and things that we go with living in a condominium. So we have to think about that. But then the other thing is, if we're buying a house, are we going to be able to maintain the property, maintain the home? Maybe it would be better to have a condo if we're not able to keep up with the maintenance of a house. Can I back out of my offer if my offer is accepted? You can if there is a conditional period or a condition of finance, a condition of inspection that's attached to it. If you have a firm offer, it is ugly to back out of a firm contract. You would lose your deposit immediately, and in addition to that, you're also liable for any damages that the seller would have. So I really don't recommend anybody doing the firm offer off the get-go, because if there is any obstacles that come up, you can't have that back door to get out without the ugliness coming your way. What happens between the time when my offer is accepted and closing? Well, you're never going to have to wonder what's going on when you're working with an agent like myself, because we're going to be keeping you up to date on what's happening with your application. But there's many steps that happen, and we walk you through each step by step, and you're going to expect that there's going to be some things like getting fire insurance on the property, arranging movers, things like that. But there's a lot that's going on in the background. We may be requiring extra documents. There may be conditions that the mortgage lender is requiring of us that we need to do. So should I research neighborhoods before looking at houses or condos? Absolutely. You want to love where you live. So I always recommend that you know the neighborhood and what's available, so that you're comfortable in the purchase that you're making. My buying process. So I have 6 steps here of my process that we can go through. Step 1, you're going to complete a mortgage application. Mine is online. It's 5-10 minutes. It's really easy, user friendly, that would be completed. Then you're going to provide supporting documents. So things like your pay stubs and letters of employment. I'm going to do a credit check. We're going to look at documents surrounding your down payment. Then I'm going to give you a pre-approval. It's going to be broken down and you're going to be able to share that with your real estate agent. I always recommend that you introduce me to your realtor so that I can have a conversation with them too, and we can all work very closely together while you're shopping. It just makes it so much smoother and a lot easier for you. It takes less off of your plate and lets us take care of the things that we need to do. Step 2, you're going to review your pre-approval with your real estate agent and discuss your purchase options. So in some circumstances, the lender that is required for your particular scenario might have some restrictions. If that's the case, then you would discuss that with your real estate agent. You're going to formulate a plan to visit homes that are within your budget and your needs, and this can be a bit hairy at times because we're working with multiple different people's schedules. So patience. Number 3, start your home shopping. This is the fun part. You get to go out and look at homes and envision yourself in these homes. You want to stay focused and don't get discouraged. So know that there are some things that can come up. Sometimes, there's a higher bid on a house or something like that, or you've seen a few and they're just not for you, and it kind of gets like, this is still happening. Stay positive. Remember those reasons that you wanted to buy your first home in the first place. Always stay connected to your real estate agent and your mortgage broker. Please don't ghost anyone. We want to know that things are going well. So like once we've had a discussion and you're off shopping, I want to make sure that I'm still in the loop. If a property of interest comes up, I can run the numbers, make sure that it's meeting the qualifications at both the lender and the insurer, and it just provides a much smoother process for you. Now, you found your home. Congratulations. I'm very excited for you. You won't find anybody more excited than me. Well, maybe mom and dad. Maybe, yeah. Well, there's probably a list of people that are going to be pretty excited for you once you find the house that you've been looking for. So you're going to be working with your real estate agent to make an offer, and you're going to submit that. And once it's accepted, you're going to have to put that deposit down, okay? Your application and documents on my end are going to get submitted to the lender and the bank for final approval, because now they have both you and the property to consider. So we're going to be working very quickly to get a commitment sent over. It's going to be sent back to us with a decision, and I'm going to reach out to you and we're going to go through your commitment line by line. We're going to collect any documentation that's required for final mortgage approval. So what this means is, like, I already collect a lot of supporting documents from you at the beginning, so that we can satisfy the lender quickly. But sometimes the lender themselves has a few more things that they would like to see. And if that's the case, I would let you know, and it's really important to get whatever they've requested to back to me very quickly. You're going to book a home inspector if you've want to have the property inspected. Your real estate agent and the home inspector would go out for that appointment. Number 6, acquire house and fire insurance. So this is going to be something that takes place once the offer is accepted, your commitment has been signed, you're just kind of waiting for closing. This is one of the duties that you'll be tasked with, of acquiring house and fire insurance. You're going to get some more information from me about this during that process. The lender needs to be listed on the insurance binder, so I give you all of that information, and then that is provided, proof of this is provided to your lawyer at closing. You're going to sign your final mortgage payment or documents with the lawyer and bring the remaining funds for closing. So you're going to get a draft from the bank. Let's say you were putting $50,000 down payment. You had $10,000 deposit. And the lawyer's going to call you and say, okay, including closing costs and your down payment, you need to send a draft for, I don't know, $47,000. And so you're going to go to the bank and get the draft and bring that to them. You're going to get a call from them a couple of days prior to closing, and they're going to have a list of things that you're going to need to bring. 2 pieces of identification. Here's a tip, ninja move tip here, guys. Make sure you're checking that your identification is not expired. Okay, they can't accept expired documents, so check that driver's license or passport. But 2 pieces of photo ID are needed for the time of closing and signing with the lawyer. Then they're going to give you a call on the day of closing to come and get your keys, or they're going to give you now the passcode for the lockbox, which it's really important that we want to work with a lawyer that's kind of in the community that we're in, just in case we do need to go and pick them up at the lawyer's office. That way you're not driving an hour to get keys and back. It's also important to keep in mind that they have until 5 o'clock end of business day to give you those keys, so it doesn't happen like 9 a.m. So when you're booking movers and things like that, you don't want somebody that's on a tight schedule, because you could end up being charged fees. And we really just don't know. There's a lot of things that come into play. That's a kind of a domino effect. We're working with multiple different people, like the seller, and maybe they've purchased something else and then they're working with you. There's lots of moving parts that all need to kind of come together at the same time. So they have until end of business day to get it all together for you. So keep that in mind. Testimonials. So here are some of the first-time home buyers testimonials that I've worked with. I'm really stoked that I got to meet these folks and work with them. We've created some really lifelong relationships, and I'm really pleased that they enjoyed their journey with me as much as I enjoyed it with them. I'm super excited to join this journey with you as well, and I'm looking forward to it. So you might be wondering now, what's the next steps? Because this is the end of the presentation, and like I had the top 10, but I've squeezed some more things in there, but there's really a lot to discuss. And if you have any questions, or you're wanting to know what your affordability is yourself, and you just want to have a chat about this process with me directly, the best thing to do is go to www.chatwithmel.ca. It'll send you right to my calendar where you can book a time that works for you, and we can chat about your specific circumstance. I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for joining me today. I had a blast doing this, and I'm really excited to see you guys get into your first home. So reach out. We'll talk soon. Peace.